Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest episode of Tales from Outer Space, taken from the subreddit HFY. The links to all the stories will be down below, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. And if you do, please consider subscribing. Story number 1. Humans are weird. Debatable. Pardon me, Commander. Seventh Sister began as she approached from the central data processing center for the base. The Trusk commander was busily collecting and analyzing the many data points the researchers had brought in that day. Seventh Sister waited patiently for the Trusk to notice her greeting and respond. Finally, the small alien turned his body to the primary eyes focused on her. His appendages, which had been busily working away at the console, grew respectfully still and curled under its body. "How may I serve your needs, Seventh Sister?" the commander asked. "I'm concerned about the humans are engaging in an argument in recreational room," she said, working the concepts out carefully. "They are consistently increasing their volume." The commander slumped and brushed his primary eyes in what she assumed was a sign of frustration. "Let us look into the matter," he said. "I believe the security cameras will be sufficient to view what is occurring," Seventh Sister offered as she turned to one of his screens. "That probably won't be necessary," the Trusk said as he pulled up a schedule. "Yes, there it is. This should explain the situation." He altered the light projection so it fell fully into her range and indicated the scheduled group activity that was currently unfolding in the recreational room. Seventh Sister leaned forward and considered the information. Her mandibles clicked and her neck frill twitched uneasily. "It says that it is a theoretical discussion," she observed. "Yes," the commander said. "Do note the topic. If I am reading this correctly," she says, "it is in regards to a, non-existent species, and they are debating the capacity of said non-existent species to engage in melee combat with humans, using primitive weapons from a past era." "You have summarized the situation well," the commander said. "Now do you understand?" She stared at him for several long moments, tilting her head from side to side. "I do not," she finally confessed. "Neither do I," the commander said, waving a main gripping appendage dismissively. "However, the humans who organized the discussion assured me that these aggressive displays are normal and security is not to intervene unless their internal fluids start to escape their external membranes." "Is there truly a chance of physical altercation resulting from a theoretical discussion?" Seventh Sister demanded. "Why did you come here to report the situation?" the commander asked. "I was concerned about the levels of aggression displayed," she replied. "I see." They stood in companionable confusion for several long moments. Finally, the commander spoke. "I am monitoring their vital signs," he assured her, "and I will intervene if the situation comes to blows, as they say. And when this particular cadre of humans arrived, I was informed that situations like this would occur from time to time, and while altercations would be frequent, actual physical violence would be rare. If you wish to educate yourself on the behaviors in question, I could give you the search terms that the Central University sent me." "I would appreciate that," she said, her full relaxing relief. "Apparently, the commander said, has gathered the data to send to her. These are a subspecies of humans known as, geeks." End of story number 1. Story number 2. The Light of Madness, written by T. Marcos. Battle Sub-Commander Krall stared at the befuddlement through the pane of isolation glass. On the other side lay a twitching, supine form of Battle Leader Krall, Supreme Commander of the Imperial Fleet, hero of Alal, savior of the Empire twice over, and with iridium clusters. He was currently blowing bubbles with his own salivary secretions and giggling softly to himself. "I don't understand," Krall said, turning to the battle medic Kroll. "What happened to him? How can his condition have deteriorated so quickly?" Kroll made a gesture of an apologetic submission. "My apologies, Sub-Commander," he said. "We are still trying to learn what we can. We know that he was displaying irritability and short temper when he came back from the summit with the human fleet." "No, that's normal," Krall interjected. "Do not list them as a symptom." "I comply, Sub-Commander," the medic said, striking it from the list. Later, he was overheard speaking softly to himself, complaining of an incessant voice in his head. Krull bared his teeth. A voice in his head, he mused. Medic Krull, who reported this to you? 3 crewmen, Sub-Commander, Krull replied. I have the names here. Krull nodded in approval. See that they are commended for their diligence, then execute them for eavesdropping on a superior officer. How did the battle leader's condition progress? He began, humming, sir, a strange series of sounds, and it seemed to irritate him, Krull said. At this point we had him under observation, officially sanctioned. He had it hastily. The battle leader's behavior continued to deteriorate at an increasing pace. He began to wrap layers of luminate foil around his cranium. Was he suffering from heat imbalance? Krull wondered aloud. Krull shook his head. No, Sub-Commander, he said. He claimed that it would block the voices and keep them out of his head. Krull's face darkened. An electromagnetic interference attack, he growled. Someone will pay for this. Sub-Commander, if I may, Krull ventured. We were also alarmed, as you are, when we heard this accusation. We immediately moved to isolate him from the cruel cage. Krull made a genuflection and touched a claw to his chest. Kra's blessing on the battle engineer Krull for his invention. He waited for the medic to mimic his gesture, then frowned again. But it appears to have helped a little, no? You are ineffably correct, Sub-Commander, Krull said. His condition continues to worsen. He will not speak to anyone, insisting that his condition is contagious and that the voices will invade our heads as well. He refuses to allow anyone entry. A noble man, Krull said. A great man, but I will not let him fall like this. Open the isolation room, battle medic. I must speak with the hero of Alal. Krull thought briefly of objecting, but the look on Krull's face was forbidding. He hurried to the controls, and the pain slid away, clearing a path for the gibbering battle leader. Krull, Krull said. Krull has told me of your condition. Great leader, what has befallen you? How may I help you? Krull, the battle leader said, his hand darting out to seize a fistful of the sub-commander's uniform. You must tell the others, you must. I am undone. I cannot bear it. The voices in my head do not cease. Do not leave me a moment's peace. I will not believe it, Krull insisted. Battle leader, who has done this to you? Who has wrought this torment upon you? The humans, Krull grasped. Seeing Krull's face darken, he pulled harder on the sub-commander's tunic. No, Krull, he said. You must tell the others. We cannot stand against the humans. The least of them did this to me, with only a few words. And now the voices repeat it to me. He grabbed his head, keening. Krull was aghast. But how? He asked. We have seen no indication that they have such powers to this point. The battle leader grinned, a terrible, mad grin, and pulled him closer. It takes but a sound, Krull, he said. Just a sound. She was standing next to me, the young lieutenant from the diplomatic party. She said something soft under her breath and hummed only a little. Krull's face contorted into a manic rictus, the slaver dripping from his fangs. I thought to learn something to use in negotiations, so I leaned closer, and just a bit closer to hear. And I heard, Krull. I heard it. Heard what, battle leader? Krull cried. Great leader, I've steeled my warrior heart. I must know what befell you on my good of my people. What did the human lieutenant say to afflict you so? Krull shuddered and leaned in very close, his voice dropping in a melodic whisper. She sang, he crooned. A little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Krull listened to the battle leader as he sobbed his way through the tune, and then stepped back. He reached far down into his warrior's heart and willed himself to be strong for the good of his people, that the same fate would not befall them both. And in his head he heard a song. Oh, Krull said. Oh, no. End of story number 2. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please consider supporting the author from the link down below. Otherwise, if you wish to support this channel, there are numerous ways to do so, like liking, subscribing, and possibly even becoming a patron. Otherwise, the easiest way would be to share. And until the next video, I hope that you all have a good one, and I'll see you then. Cheers.